You may be wondering, will insurance replace my roof? Today, we're going to be talking about all the factors that go into that. Number one, call a qualified roofer in your area to come perform an inspection. We do this often for our customers. What we're going to do is assign one of our project managers to come out, and they're going to inspect your roof. They're going to look over all of the areas. They're going to check flashings. They're going to check pipe boots, any penetration through the roof. They're going to see what your decking feels like. They're going to see if your shingles are sealed. Many things that go into that inspection. And during that inspection, one of the biggest things we're going to be looking for is there damage on my roof caused by something that my insurance company would cover? Quick disclaimer, I am not an adjuster, just a contractor. So I'll just be speaking from my experience working in the restoration industry for the past 8 years. Some of the common things we see that are covered by most policies would be wind damage to your shingles. This would be the shingles getting unsealed, removed, broken, lifted up, torn through the nails, things like that. Another thing is hail damage. Hail, kind of like ice, gets dropped from the sky during severe storms, and it hits your shingle, many times crushing the granules down into the shingle, breaking the asphalt mat, which is the waterproofing part of the shingle, and will lead to a lot of issues, potentially even leaks down the road. Other things that would be covered in a roofing situation from storms would maybe a branch or a tree falls through the roof, or maybe a branch fell and scratched or scraped some shingles or something. So during our inspection, these are some of the things we're looking for. So really step one is there any damage on my roof that can be attributed to a storm or something that my policy covers that happens sudden and accidentally? Step two is, once we've seen that you do have qualifying damage, we recommend you to review your coverages with your agent. Many times, someone that's worked in this industry for a long time can help you look over your coverages. And the biggest thing you want to look for is that you're comfortable with whatever your out-of-pocket exposure would be. Everybody's familiar with the word deductible. So at a minimum, on these, you're going to have your deductible to pay. That's your part to pay before the insurance kicks in anything. But as common in our landscape of insurance and storm damage today, especially when it comes to wind and hail type of claims, you want to make sure that your roofing surface has replacement cost value as opposed to actual cash value. Not to get too in the weeds, basically, let's say the roof is written up at $20,000, okay? And let's say your roof is 15 years old and the life expectancy of that shingle is 30 years old. The insurance company could pay for your loss, but depreciate it 50%. And then your deductible is reflected out of that as well. So in something like that, on a $20,000 roof, you could have that $10,000 depreciation taken out, and then let's say a $2,500 deductible, so you're getting a check for $7,500. On a replacement cost value policy, that $10,000 that was originally taken out, once you do the work and a licensed contractor performs it, submits the final invoice, the $10,000 that was originally taken out would be recoverable for you, meaning you just have your $2,500 deductible. Insurance is going to pay the $17,500. But we're seeing pretty common now, you could have a policy with some type of schedule payment on your roof where when the roof gets a certain age, the policy would actually pay out a depreciated amount, not the replacement amount. Or your roof in general may pay out at actual cash value, leaving you with more out-of-pocket exposure. So damage and having the damage is super important, but also having the right coverage and making sure that you are comfortable with what your out-of-pocket would be in that case is also very important. The third thing you want to look at, once you've identified that you do have damage and you have the right kind of coverage and you feel comfortable with your out-of-pocket exposure, is if you don't already know, you want to make sure you have an accurate date of loss within your policy period. This is the wind event, the hail event, the day the tree fell, etc. A lot of times, if that happens and it's a catastrophic event, you're going to know immediately. You're going to be filing your claim. Sometimes wind can happen in a less aggressive manner and you weren't really aware of it. So you want to make sure the last registered date in your area is going to fall within that policy period and within your times to file the claim, etc. Again, we're just contractors. We recommend you to review that with your agent or with a public adjuster or with someone trained in that field to help you. Once you have the date of loss, you will move forward to file your claim. Once you file your claim, you can call the claims department. You can call your agent to file your claim for you. But once you file that claim and you have an adjuster coming out, you're going to want to hire a knowledgeable contractor to come and document all of your damages. There's many different ways to do this. Sometimes we can use photos with software such as Company Cam, where we can put together photo reports for you, circle damages electronically, put writings with them to make it all make sense. Or sometimes you actually physically need to take what's common in our industry as sidewalk chalk. We can mark the roofs up, present the damage, put everything out there that you as the homeowner are wanting to claim. As a contractor, we're just marking everything that we believe was damaged by the wind or hail, or sometimes we even show things that weren't damaged by wind or hail just to show what's old, what is from a storm, what isn't from a storm, etc. Ultimately, your adjuster is going to make that call and they will either extend or not extend coverage to you. And then from that point, based off of what they acknowledge, they'll begin preparing a scope of damages report along with an estimate for your damages, and they'll present that to you. Once you have that, the next step is very important. It's really to review that with your contractor. The reason this is because a lot of times adjusters may miss things, not necessarily on purpose, just they miss things. At the end of the day, they're adjusters, they're not contractors. And so you want your contractor to really review that scope of damages with you, compare it to their scope of damages, and also look at the pricing and make sure it's in alignment with the standard rates for your market. Because what we see a lot of times happen is homeowners may want to hold that estimate close to their vest, thinking they're going to come out ahead or benefit in some way. And not to get in the weeds here again, but the way it's designed now with the insurance companies holding back depreciation, many times on that $20,000 claim, going back to that example we used, if you have a $2,500 deductible, that immediately takes the insurance's part to pay down to $17,500. Well, if they withheld $10,000 from that, that means your first check is only $7,500. That's not going to be enough for any contractor to do that job properly. Now, a contractor may tell you, hey, we can help you with your deductible. We can eat your deductible. We can absorb your deductible. The problem with that is they still have to recover that $10,000 that was held back for you to make that job profitable. In their mind, maybe they can do the job at $17,500 and make a profit, so they're eating or absorbing or taking care of the $2,500. The issue is, for us to get that money for you, for any contractor to get that money for you, we have to submit a detailed invoice and a certificate of completion to the insurance company saying that we charged you that $20,000. Obviously, if we did, great, it's accurate, they release the money. If we submit that and we didn't actually charge you that, then that's insurance fraud. You could potentially be a participant in that without knowing. We see a lot in our industry, contractors get in a race to the bottom, meaning trying to just go with the lowest price to get business. At the end of the day, to make that profitable, there's corners being cut in both quality and materials, and at the end of the day, you, the homeowner, suffer. The absolute best thing to do is to work with a knowledgeable restoration contractor that is going to get you the right scope. At the end of the day, your deductible is your deductible. The time to bargain for what that is when you buy insurance. Once the storm events hit, it's too late. So if you bargain for a higher deductible on the front end, hopefully your premiums were lower as a result of that. Just kind of like health insurance. Whereas if you bargained for a lower deductible, you probably had a higher premium. It all is going to come out in the wash somewhere. But at the end of the day, the deductible is your part to pay. So it's not really about price at that point. It's about a correct scope of work and a contractor that's going to deliver the absolute most value for the experience you're having with the claim and the loss you're suffering. To piggyback on that, choosing the right contractor is so important when you're thinking about filing an insurance claim, because it's not just the person that's going to actually end up doing the work. You obviously, in that regard, want to vet them, make sure they're licensed, make sure they have good reviews on Google and social media platforms, see if they're in the Better Business Bureau, see if there's any complaints, things like that. But ultimately, it's important as well, if that person's going to be helping you in the insurance process from a contractor standpoint, there are things we can and there's things we can't do. We can't argue your policy for you. We can't do things like that. But we can absolutely talk about accurate scopes of work, repairs that can be done to code, repairs that can't be done to code. So it's really important to have a knowledgeable restoration contractor that is used to working with insurance companies and understands the lingos and the processes that goes with that. Because the person you choose before you file a claim in a perfect world is going to be the person that walks through that whole process with you, helps present all the damage to your insurance company. If any disputes or arguments come up, they can show what can and can't be done to code and by best construction practices, and hopefully deliver you a full scope that's everything it should be, so that that job can be built to the best standards. So like in any industry, a roof is not just a roof. Like a car is not just a car, like a house is not just a house. There's so many different variables and things that can go or not go into the quality of it. So really having that contractor that can be your partner throughout the process is super important. That's what we do at Wise Builders for our customers. We really walk them through the entire deal. We communicate throughout every email, every correspondence we send. You're CC'd on it. Before a next step is taken, everything's explained to you in detail of what's happening. And then when the magic day comes, and hopefully you had the qualifying damage, you're comfortable with your coverage, you have a great data loss, you presented your damage well, the insurance carrier's adjuster agreed to the damages, approved everything, you have a great scope, we're going to sit down with you and walk you through the roof you're getting. It's important that the contractor is set up with a manufacturer. They're registering your manufacturer warranties. They're providing an adequate workmanship warranty for their labor if anything was to go wrong. And like I said, they have references and people in your area that can speak to their work. At the end of the day, Google reviews are one of the best things. Everyone can read those, and you've probably seen the ones that are paid for. They're very generic. The typing's not great. They're paid for a lot of times by people in other countries just writing them. But any person with common sense can read through there and see what genuine reviews from happy customers in your area that got the same service performed look and sound and feel like. And so that's one of the things I always encourage customers to do if they're really vetting us between some of our competitors, is I'll say, hey, at the end of the day, one, you want to look at is what's being provided to me in terms of the scope and the value of the project. Is it apples to apples? Not just focusing on that price, but is it apples to apples? What am I getting? Is one giving me more value than the other? And then if the seeming value when it comes to the material and the roofing is pretty much the same, or so it seems, then you want to look at the quality of the contractor. You want to look at their reviews. You want to look at their ratings. You want to look at maybe how they're rated with the manufacturer they install, how they're rated on Google, how they're rated on Facebook. Again, these are all things I encourage you to do. Getting a roofing project done, whether through insurance or not, is a big undertaking, but if you choose the right contractor, hopefully they make it pain-free, very enjoyable, and you just get to answer a couple emails, pick out a great color you're gonna love, and stand back and enjoy your roof. After watching this video, if you have any questions at all about the process or about if you might qualify for an insurance claim, whether you're in our market or not, give us a call and we'll be glad to answer your questions and point you in the right direction. Thanks a lot.